welcome back to B-Dog Digital. Right now I am in front of Capron Pond. This is in Smithfield, Rhode Island. Over there is the Stillwater Scenic Trail, which is the old railroad trail they used to bring goods to and from the local textile mills. And if we continue on here through all this poison ivy, you're going to see the Capron Pond Dam. That right here was built to dam up the Woonasquatucket River to turn it into a pond, and this waterfall would flow into the textile mill known as the Capron Mill, which is in that forest over there. So today what I want to do is, it's nearly sunset. I want to just do a little adventure of historical Smithfield. I wanted to revisit the Capron and Stillwater Mills that are by this pond, and I want to see if we can find anything we have not seen last time. Also, I did bring my metal detector, so if there's any interesting relics or items from the textile mill days, we're going to find them today. So get ready for a wild adventure through historic Smithfield. All right, so I'm going to go to the Capron Mill first. This mill was completely destroyed. It was burned down in a fire in the early 1900s, I believe the 1920s. And all that remains now is the foundation, and there's like some junk in the building area. I have been in here before. I've even filmed it, but we get a little bit more light now than I filmed it last time. I'm interested in seeing how high the grass is going to be too, if it's going to be overgrown. There may be ticks, but nothing I can't handle. So right now I'm going into the entrance of the mill. This actually used to be the old train track too that we're walking on. This continues on into the Stillwater Scenic Trail, which starts there. We're not going to visit that today because that's going to bring us to the opposite of where I want to go. Look at these flowers. Yeah, you can see it's really overgrown. There is actually a lot of poison ivy. I'm walking through here. I wouldn't recommend this if you are allergic to poison ivy or sensitive to bugs. You can see it's very green, even though we had some interesting fall foliage over by the pond already coming out. It still looks very green and tropical in here. Okay, so as we're coming up right now, we're going to the mill. This is the Capron Mill. This is the first of the 3 mills that we're going to visit today. And again, the wooden structure had completely burned down in the 20s. I don't know if it was arson or if there was a spark from the equipment that was inside here. But you can see right here, this is the remaining cement foundation. We have these big pillars. The windows must have been right here. The building must have not have been really tall, because it looks like this would have been the top, and down there was the inner inside. You can see even where the floors used to be too. The electricity is right there, the old wiring. Let's go down to the bottom. Up that way, 295 continues, the highway. And okay, like I said, we're going to find some interesting items. This looks like it could have been an old fence. Okay. You know, like everything, nature takes it back over. One thing I love about these abandoned buildings and the history behind them is that you can see here, this used to be at one time a bustling building. People would work in here. I'm sure there was a lot of injuries because there was no OSHA back then. But it burned down, and all that was left then was the rubble. And now nature's taken it back. And now you can come in these ruins and you don't know what you're going to be able to find. I had metal detected in here before, and I did find some interesting things. Like right here, you can see there's an old can top that's still there from when I found it, and then this, some rusty metal that's falling apart. This almost looks like it's some kind of like an oxygen tank or something, some kind of tube. I'm sure buried under the dirt you're gonna find a lot more stuff from the building. Like, I don't know what that was. That looks like it was an old light bulb actually, or oh no, but it's actually a bottle top. But there's pieces of the old windows. There's a cement pile that just is here. I'm assuming that these had something to do with the textile machines right here. There's a metal piece over here too. And yeah, so the history of this mill is a little bit spotty. Again, I don't even know if they know exactly when it was burned down. If there's even a true date. I heard the 1920s. It gets so overgrown over here too. And the building ends over there. Look at that though. So this must have been built in the 1860s too. It's very interesting. I mean, for a town like Smithfield, an old mill town, these ruins just still exist. Rhode Island is a great place for urban exploration. Not only do we have the old mill buildings in the northern part of the state, like, you know, Oakland Mill in Barrville is another big one. Look at this. This is definitely from a fence. But also, if you go down to the southern part, there's the old military forts that are abandoned, like Fort Wetherill and Fort Burnside in Jamestown. And those buildings you can completely explore and go through the old tunnels of the forts, see where the soldiers lived and worked. So yeah, this is the Capron Mill. Next stop, we're going to keep walking down a little bit further on the street, still on Capron Pond, and we're going to go find the Stillwater Mills. Now, the Stillwater Mills were made up of a few different buildings. The two that we're going to see today are the only remaining. There was a fire that burned down the big building, and these other two ones also, you can see, have had damage from fire as well. Floors are collapsed. By the time we get there, we might be able to use the flashlight too and really look inside them, because it is going to be getting darker. All right, I'm going to pick back up when we get there. See you soon. All right, so there's the Woonasquatucket River. It's going to flow under this bridge to the other side. This is actually the Capron Bridge. I didn't know this before, but it was named after Aidan Capron. So that's actually where the street's name was from. Looks like they built it in 1932, but they replaced it and rededicated it in 2017 to the men and women who served in World War I. It's interesting because there's a couple other World War I memorials in Smithfield. There's one at the Esmond Conservation Area too. So I wonder why Smithfield is so into the World War I history. There must have been a lot of people who served from this area. Alright, so we're now on the property of the Stillwater Mills. So we're going to go down that way and check out the actual mill buildings in a minute, but I want to show you something interesting. Right here, I didn't notice last time. This is the parking lot. So the mill, the old mill burned down in the 1980s. The original building was there where those condos are. And if you look in here, you find clamshells all over the place in northern Rhode Island near where the mill buildings were. There's a piece of the ruin right there. The reason why is because a lot of the workers would eat clams. That was a big product that people could easily eat that was shipped up from the ocean in the ocean state. So they would dump their clamshells after lunch in a certain area. At least that is what I believe, and that's what I've heard. Also, Native Americans would make wampum, but they wouldn't look like those. Those were definitely eaten. Look at this. This looks like it would control the water level for the mill, or for the pond, to feed the water into the mill. There's a little chipmunk. Oh wow, look at this. I wasn't expecting to see this today. Snake skin. Wow. That's really cool. That must have been a big boy. And look at that sunset over the Capron Pond. It's crazy how this dam has been around for hundreds of years, maybe even 200 years. Now, I'm hearing that it's actually not stable, that this is in danger of breaking, and the floods could actually really ruin anything that's left of the ruins over here, of the mills. Alright, I got the flashlight now. Down here, as you can see, it looks really just destroyed. There used to be stairs that are no longer there, so don't try to walk down those. And you can see the old rusty river as well. All that machinery that must have ran through that water for 200 years. We're going to go down there in a minute, but let's take a look at this. These are the old steel beams from the railroads that they remade into either a loading dock or a makeshift balcony or porch. Look at the old bricks. And this thing, some kind of metal piece. All right. Yeah, so there's two floors. There's the floor right here, and there's one down there, and there's even one below this one too. I can even almost see some old tables in there. Yep, you can see the old wiring for the lights, and the roof is just completely collapsed. Look at that, though. There was some kind of an old chest way back in the corner. Piping. It looks like that they had bricked this up and someone just busted it open. Alright, let's continue down to the bottom. Yeah, these are really old ruins. Crazy to think about how people used to actually work over here. I mean, you know, all the offices that we work at today, imagine in 200 years they're going to look something like this. This is the second building. So these are the only two that are remaining from the original. Wow. So that's really crazy. Look at that. The staircase would go over there, and it was a wooden case. It would come up here to get to the second floor. You can still see the glass broken from any windows that collapsed. Almost looks like that there was like a coat hanger over there for people to hang their jackets on. Wow. Look at these orange berries. I don't know what those are. That's crazy. Alright, so at this end of the building, we're going to be able to go down to the bottom. Before we do, I want to go all the way to the end over here. You can see the little man-made waterfall at the Capron pond. Look at that. Got to do a little bit of bushwhacking through here. I'm glad I can come at a little bit earlier of a time than I did last time, so we still get some light. You can see the old concrete. There's fencing right here that would stop people from getting in there. Oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go through this now. Let's see. Oh, it still is working. This is just going through the bushes. Whew. I gotta check myself for ticks later. Yeah, we're not gonna stop until we reach the end. Someone's eating some chips. This is a overgrown jungle for sure. Oh my god. All right, I think that I actually can't get any further than this. Yeah, this is, I'm surrounded by these plants. Okay, this is gonna be the furthest I can get. I have to come back in the winter when this has all died down. Look at this, the power lines over there above the trees. All right, let's get out of here and get down to the bottom. Man, this is insane how much overgrown brush there is in here. This is like going through the rainforest or something. There we go. Okay, continuing on. There is going to be the entrance to get back to the bottom. Look at that. Alright, over here where these bushes are, we can go in here. Oh, hearing a goose. Okay, So there's like a little path right here. And you can see the fence got knocked down. Whoa, it's sliding. I'm sliding. It's a lot more fun going up that than down. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, we've been in here before. All that concrete. Yeah, I'd be worried about this being asbestos. Like this stuff right here. That looks like it could be asbestos. I hope not. I don't really know where I'm going to be able to do any metal detecting in here right now. It's actually looking a lot more decrepit than I remembered. Wow, look at this side. You can actually see the wall panels. There must have been more drywall in there. And these are all the textile wheels, or they used to be right there. I'm surprised that none of them survived. Yep. Wow, the termites just must have completely eaten through all that. It's crazy what 200 years of no maintenance on a building can do. Yep. You can imagine what this place sounded like when it was in service. Look at all the little nails and nuts and bolts. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what there would be to metal detect around here right now. I mean, it's going to go off for everything. There's big tubes and piping. So it's going to be beeping everywhere no matter what. I would like to come back here with like more of like a history enthusiast who really knows what all this was. I mean, look at these little bars right here. You need like people who can do some real excavating. I'm not quite sure what can still be found here. There's like really a lot of junk from the old mill. This looks like the weeds that from the top that people cut and just threw down here. This looks like there could have been another small wooden building right here and collapsed. I can hear the water. And yeah, it's crazy how it still is tinted from the hundreds of years of all the rust and machinery. You can see how rusted that piece of iron is over there. Watch your feet for nails. It's a vine. What's really cool, I don't know if the camera can pick it up. Oh wow, look at that. You can see the water under this floor of the mill. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but there's a staircase in that corner. And there's an old piece of machinery right there. Look at this. This like old closet or cabinet. There's the plumbing. I wonder where the bathroom was. There's a power box back there, it looks like, too. And even like a little workstation behind that over there. Let me look up my head. Someone graffitied the inside over here. Wow. So there's this floor and there's another floor above it. That's crazy. And this must have been the old door that I'm standing in right here. When I was here last time, I don't remember these vines. This old box. Someone had Taco Bell, it looks like. It must be the ancient Taco Bell from 1850. I think this place, well, the main mill burned down in the 80s. So I think these were open until around then. I remember you can see some bridges and look at all this trash. More metal. Look at these. These must have been from the wheels, maybe. It's starting to get way more overgrown now than it was last time, too. I might need to call it a hike. Let me just see if I go over here a little bit longer, if there's anything else I can find. They were serious about keeping this place closed off for a while. Yeah, look at that. That's an old bridge over there. We saw that last time. And there's more bridges like way down there. You can see where the swamp is. Let me see if I can get a good view. Oh God, I just walked right into a spider web. Okay. Wow. Look at this. This tree is dead. Yeah, there's more bridges over there. So I would assume that the horse and buggies, or even people in general, would walk over these bridges. You can see they reused everything. There's another bridge that way too, but it's looking really overgrown. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get to it. Nature just took everything back. That's the mill right there. So that's all poison ivy right there. You can see the leaves of 3. Leave them be. I am not allergic to poison ivy though, so I'm good. I'm just gonna have to take a shower when I get back, just in case there's any dirt or ticks on me. That's the biggest concern. Yeah, so these are the buildings. All right, well, I really can't do much as far as metal detecting here right now, because, as I said, there's metal everywhere. So I'm not going to be able to know what's underground and what's above ground. I'll come back a little bit late or earlier in the day sometime. Look at that, that's a piece of metal. I'll come back a little bit earlier in the day sometime and see if I can bring somebody with me that might know a bit more about the history of this building, and also the best places to look for any kind of items remaining. I think this place was just completely looted though once it was shut down, because I'm really not seeing much. I mean, it's really mostly just things that have collapsed, not even real items. That other building behind us, how it had, would look like it was like an old lathe or whatever that is called. There's something right here. I mean, yeah, there's these buckets, there's always tires in the woods. So I'm not seeing anything right now. All right, I'm gonna just keep walking, and we will get back up at the top. All right, I just got back on top. There's the upper floor of the building right there, covered in the bushes, and over here is all the pond again. So starting to get dark. Again, wasn't really able to do much as far as metal detecting around here right now. So I think a good time to come back here would be early spring. Probably that way it's still warm and there'd be no snow or ice, but these plants haven't had the chance to grow back yet. And that might be better to dig or to see what else we can find around here. But I don't know what else there could be. Yeah, that is one of the most beautiful sunsets. I came out at the right time. Incredible. So with the sunset behind me, I'll tell you, yeah, Camp Shepherd, I want to do again. I want to go back to those abandoned cabins and see what we can find in there that we didn't see last time. I want to go back to Sneech Pond. I feel like the last time we were there with Kevin, Mike, and Nick, it was a little bit like too chaotic, and I didn't really get to see everything I wanted to. I'd really like to go in depth on the trash pit. And then I'm also interested in filming a place called Catamount Hill in Cumberland, Rhode Island, or I think Catamount Brook Preserve, one of the two. I don't know much about it, but it's on Google Maps and it's near Sneech Pond, so it looks pretty cool. And then I also want to do the Cumberland Land Trust, so a lot of Cumberland hikes I want to do coming up soon. I'm also excited to do some caves too. Found some more caves in the area and gonna go with some professionals who are going to show me around on the next couple videos. So we're gonna have a good time coming up, a lot of content. And as always, I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for more. Thanks.